Early in the church's history, those who followed Jesus Christ had a certain name, actually many different names. The first name was given them was the followers of the way, because Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So they were the followers of the way. Eventually they would be called Christians, which is the name we give to all those who believe in Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, not just Roman Catholics, but Protestants and Orthodox, and so on. But before they were called Christians, they were actually called saints. And they were living. They weren't the ones who had died and we thought went to heaven. So the early church called them saints. In fact, we know there's one church that uses that in their official title, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So saints meant the holy ones. In Latin, it was sanctus. The plural is sancti. And some of us remember the Latin Mass, sanctus, 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 holy, holy, holy. So in a sense, I could say to you, happy feast day, for you are the saints here this morning. And that should make most of us a little bit nervous, because we think of saints as people who are perfect. And there's no such human being on earth at all as a perfect human being, except perhaps for Jesus Christ, the Son of God. We could maybe say Mary, who was conceived without sin, did not sin, but the rest of the trillions of people who ever lived on planet Earth, no one is perfect. So saints does not mean perfection. It means simply that you continue to trust in God. You make mistakes, you ask God's forgiveness, you accept that forgiveness, and you keep moving forward. We can look at the life of all the saints and realize that none of them were perfect. You know, sometimes people talk about some of the scandals in the church today, and some of the scandals are horrible, some of them are actually criminal. But if I can joke with them a little bit, I'll say, well, true, you know, I'm on the inside. I know some of the things about the church more than you, and I know some of the bad things that are going on in the church. But things were never as bad as when the 12 apostles are running the church. And they said, what do you mean? Well, first of all, Jesus handpicked them. He tapped them on the shoulder and said, come follow me. Jesus didn't handpick me. I have many reasons why I would follow the vocation. But of those 12, look how imperfect they were. Peter made his first communion, attended his first Mass, was ordained a priest on Holy Thursday night. About 8 hours later, he denied ever knowing Jesus 3 times, even when Jesus told him, you're going to do this before the cock crows. James and John fought about who is going to have the highest place in heaven. We heard that in the gospel a few Sundays ago. Thomas doubted Jesus had ever risen from the dead, even when his 10 best friends said, we saw him. He said, I don't believe you. Good Friday afternoon, Judas, who betrayed him, took his own life. So now there's only 11 apostles left. Of those 11, 10 deserted Jesus. That's a 92% defection rate. Only one was at the cross, John the Apostle. So the apostles were as human as you and I. They made mistakes, but they kept coming back. Remember when Jesus called Peter after the resurrection? Simon Peter, do you love me? Yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Okay, we're friends again. So don't be too nervous or too squirmish of being called saints. That doesn't mean you're perfect. It means you're a believer. You're a follower of Jesus Christ. In spite of our faults and mistakes and weaknesses, we still can be called holy people, the people of God, the children of God. In the first reading, we heard all that symbolic, beautiful language, you know, white robes and so on. And it mentions that number, 144,000. Again, that's a symbolic number. There's only 144,000 people in heaven. I'm nervous. I don't think I'm in the top 144,000 people that ever lived on the planet Earth. But what the writer did, he took 12 apostles, times the 12 tribes of Israel, comes up with 144, and multiplied it by what he thought was a big number, 1,000. So you get 144,000. If that author was writing a book today, he'd say 12 apostles, 12 tribes, 144, times a trillion, because we know what a trillion is, because we know what our debt is here in the United States. It's in the trillions. We can figure that number out. The whole idea was in heaven there's a vast number of people. They really can't be counted. That's how the reading says. And besides those 144, symbolically, people from every tribe and tongue and nation are there in heaven. So heaven is open to all of us. That's why I said at the beginning of Mass, we usually think of all saints as those among our family and friends and relatives who have died and are in heaven. My parents, my grandparents, my sisters, my aunts and uncles and cousins and friends and so on. Hundreds of people whose funerals I've celebrated over 53 years of priesthood. I believe they're in heaven. None of them were perfect, not my family, not my relatives, not my friends, but I believe they were good people, and I know they love God. So honor your family, and relatives and friends who have died and you believe are with God forever in heaven. How do we be more saintly? How do we become holier? That's what the Beatitudes are all about. The Beatitudes say, blessed are you, holy are you, sanctified are you, if you do these things. If you comfort those who are mourning, if you're merciful to those who need a little bit of help, maybe generosity. If you're a peacemaker between members of your family, that are arguing with each other, haven't talked to each other for years. It's only November 1st. I think Thanksgiving is very late this year, November 27th or 28th or something like that. Between now and Thanksgiving, could you try to bring some of your family together? Excuse me. Try to bring some members to dinner, or maybe someone that you know is going to be alone in Thanksgiving. There are ways we can be peacemakers. And if you're persecuted in any way, if people attack you because of your religion, I don't think you're going to be persecuted in the sense of become a martyr and be killed for your faith. But sometimes our Catholic faith is criticized, ridiculed in movies and media and so on. Okay, be strong, stand up, share what you believe. Blessed are you if you follow these teachings of Jesus Christ. So it said in the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount, his longest sermon in any of the four Gospels. And yet he begins with saying, if you want to be blessed, if you want to be happy, if you want to be holy, this is what you do. A recipe for Christian living. Let us thank God for our family and friends who've gone before us and truly are in heaven as we believe. May you continue to be saints, not perfect people, but people who always try to be holier and holier, more Christ-like. Blessed are you.